Hello everyone! Today I'm showing you how to wallpaper your Sylvanian Families dollhouses. Here you can see one of my houses, or actually a part of the house. This is the upper part of my St. John's School, and I've already wallpapered the bottom part. Here's the top part. This is completely bare. I haven't done anything to this yet. It's really easy to wallpaper these Sylvanian Families houses. And I think it's really worth it because they're kind of a little boring in my opinion because they just have nothing on the walls here. And it's easy. It takes a little while, but the result is definitely worth it. So let me start by showing you what you will need for this project. You will obviously need some wallpaper. Now, you don't have to use special wallpaper meant for dollhouses. You can use scrapbooking paper, crafting paper. Now this is scrapbooking paper taken from a 6x6 pad, and these are the two designs I'm going to use for this particular piece of dollhouse you just saw. Just remember to check that you have enough paper. One of these little sheets might not be enough for everything, so I have several more sheets of both designs ready to go. So you need the paper. Then you will need another kind of paper. You will need just regular printing paper. This is the kind of paper I put onto my printer and I print out documents and whatnot. It's very nice because it's pretty thin, and thinness is good here. You don't want to have thick or sturdy paper for this one. So just regular printing paper. You will probably need some sheets of this. You will need a pair of scissors. You will need a ruler, or if you want to, you can also have a measuring tape. You will need double-sided tape. This is what we will use to attach our wallpaper onto the walls. And this works well with Sylvanian Families. It's always worked with me, so it should work for you too. Just make sure that you have very sticky double-sided tape so that it really sticks well. You will need a paper cutter. Now, if you don't have a paper cutter, you can do without this, but I like to have this because you want to have straight lines so that your wallpaper looks nice in your Sylvanian Families home. So that's why I recommend you have something like this. You will need just a regular pencil. And then this is an optional tool, but something like this would be good. This is one of my Swiss Army knives. I'm a big fan of Swiss Army knife, and I have several of them. I have a bigger one too, but this small one is great for crafting. What I need this for is it has this little handy knife which is very sharp, and it also has this, I think this is like a screwdriver here. But the reason why I'm using these two in my wallpapering is, let me show you. I'll bring the house a little bit closer. So what I need this for is sometimes when I put the wallpaper, let's say I put the wallpaper here, and it is slightly too long. Sometimes that happens even if you are really careful. So what I can do is I can take this sharp end here. Either one will work. Let's take this one now. And I just very gently push it through this way. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing the paper into the crack there. So it gives me a much cleaner edge there. So it's good to have this. I can just like press the paper here gently so that it will be completely flat. But actually a ruler would work this way too. Not a ruler like mine, which is not sharp at all, but if you have a sharp ruler, like a plastic one, then you can definitely use that to sort of smooth the edges like this. So that would be good too. So now that I've shown you what you need for this project, let's get on to the actual wallpapering. The first step in starting to wallpaper your Sylvanian Families house is to first figure out which is going to be the first wall that you're going to paper. For me, it's going to be this one here because that's nice and easy. It's just a rectangle. And you will also need your printing paper here. If your printing paper is very large and the amount of wall you have to paper is very small, you might want to actually cut this to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to cut it in half, approximately in half. It's really not that important there. So, okay, so now I have a smaller piece of paper, and this is perfect for doing this. So what we're going to first do is we're going to take a blueprint, sort of, out of this little wall space here. And the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to place my paper against it, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see that it is straight from there, and then I'm going to just, with my fingers, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to draw around it, and this can be a little tricky, so if you're a kid, you might want to ask your siblings, older siblings, or your mom or your dad to help you with this. But you definitely want to get a very accurate as you can, but don't worry, if it's a little inaccurate, you can fix that. So what I'm doing here is I'm just, with my finger, with my nail, I'm pushing it like this. So there we go. I now have a blueprint of this wall, and I'm cutting it off, and notice that I need to cut on the inside of the crevice here, because obviously that is where the wall ends. So I'm going to cut this off here now, and please don't worry, you can fix this if this is not completely accurate. There we go. So now I have this little blueprint, and now I'm going to do the fitting. Let me put it in there and see what I need to change, because you usually need to change something. Now this looks pretty nice, except if you can see here, it's slightly too short from this end. So what I need to do is I'm going to add a couple of millimeters to that as I take this piece out of my pattern paper. So let me take my pattern paper. Here it is. Turn it to the wrong side. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this paper over that, and I'm going to draw this on there. And as I do this, I remember to draw a couple of extra millimeters on this end. It doesn't matter which end you put the extra millimeters in, because you can shift this. So really doesn't matter. So I'm just going to place it there. See that it is nice and even. Oop. I have my camera in a place where it kind of hinders me from doing this properly, but I'm doing my best here. There we go. So I've drawn it over there, and this is where your paper cutter really comes in handy, because as you can see, hand-drawn lines are not perfect. So, you know, that's why you need the paper cutter. But don't fret if you don't have one. So anyway, I didn't actually draw the extra millimeters here, because I thought that I might actually just cut them. So let me just cut this out of my paper. So now I take care to add a little bit of extra here, not go straight from the line, but take a little extra to it. So let's see if this fits, and if it doesn't, we're going to continue taking a little bit out of it. Okay, so let me change my camera here. Oops, there we go. It is slightly big from this end, so I'm going to cut a little bit out of it. I'm going to do this with my scissors, because this is too little to take with my cutter. It will just smudge it. So let me cut, and I'm cutting very carefully here. I have the dots here to help me, to sort of guide me here. Okay, so I cut a little bit. Is that uneven? I'm not sure. Let's see. So yeah, it looks perfect in there, and it even stays there. Okay, so let's continue. So now that I have a good fit for my wallpaper, all I need to do is attach it to my wall. So I'm taking my double-sided tape, and I'm just putting my double-sided tape First, I do this at the edges. Of course, you know, you can do this in different ways too. This is just how I prefer to do it. I just like all edges to be taped, so to speak. So there we go. One more edge here. No, actually 2 more edges. So there we go. And then I want to put something in the middle too, so that it won't sag there or anything, or it will be nice and flat also in the middle. You don't have to put any more tape than that. And since my tape requires me to peel the backings off, I'll do that. If you have double-sided tape that doesn't need this, then you obviously can go and attach it right away. You don't have to wait and do this. But this is just my favorite brand of double-sided tape. It's very affordable and it's really good. Okay, let me move my camera a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so instead of just putting it in there, I like to line it up, usually from the bottom. I like to line it up, and this can get also a little tricky, so if you're a kid, you might want to ask mom or dad or siblings or someone older to help you there. Okay, so there it is, and this is where I take my Swiss Army knife, and I, like here, you can see it's a little bit out from there, so I just push it in there like that. I go all around the edges here with my, this is actually the screwdriver, like that, because I want all the edges and all the corners to be tucked in there nice and clearly. So there we go. I have my first piece of wallpapering done. The next piece of wallpapering that I will be doing is this one, and this is more tricky because, as you can see, it's very, very thin here. So what I will be doing with this, I will first take this part, and then I will take this part from here, this one, and then I will try to get this one, but this is pretty difficult. So what I might choose to do instead is, after I've done this part and this part, is that I might actually put a curtain in here, something that I just put in here with double-sided tape, a little bit of a curtain there, because it would be hard to wallpaper it. And if you're a novice in wallpapering, you can always leave this little bit of here just unwallpapered, leave it bare. The rest of this is pretty easy, but with the windows, what you have to do, let me see if I have enough paper here to show you. You do the same thing, you just, okay, let's turn this a little bit so it's easier for me to get my hand in. So all that you do is you put your paper in. This takes a little practice, remember that. And what you want to do is find the window, you can see it there, and then do the same thing all around the window. Do with your finger, just like that. Over here, just with your finger, and then the top over here, and the side. I'm doing this really quickly now because I just want to show you how to do this, but when I do this I take more time. But here is a very quick blueprint on this wall, so just take your time and redo it if you don't get it right the first time. That's what I sometimes do, but I'm sure that once you have done this a couple of times, you'll get much better and more efficient in it. But it's really fun. I think it really makes the Sylvanian Families dollhouse look much nicer. So, I hope you enjoyed this short little tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!